Ultimate Wolf. Probably just fixing that backdrop. I saw it got messed up. Here. But yeah, today I'm reviewing the Studio Series Optimus Prime from Age of Extinction. There we go. There we go. That fixed it. Just fixing that one corner. There. So here, I'll move him to the side for a minute. Okay, so here, let's look at the box real quick. So there you can see it's the Windows, the Transformers Studio Series, Transformers Age of Extinction, Optimus Prime, his truck mode, raw mode right here. Age up, truck mode, 44 steps, and out symbol. More than meets the eye at the top of that. The very top, Transformers Age of Extinction, Optimus Prime. There it is from the side. The other side, Autobot symbol, Transformers Studio Series. He has a leader class. The rest of the artwork. Back, there's an holding sword, there's some raw mode, there's him in his truck mode. And then there's the scene pointing a sword. And then it does also say Optimus Prime battles lockdown as he is hunted by Cemetery Wind. So there, that's that for the box. I don't need that anymore. There's no backdrop. They stopped doing that. What you get in the box is the plastic white paper. Yeah, I don't need that anymore. You also get his instructions. It is in a big sheet. So that's it. Well, fully extended, well, from top to bottom. And fully opened up. Like that pretty much. But yeah, here's that. Okay, there. I don't need the instructions anymore. I know what I'm doing. He does come with a few accessories, so I'll quickly show that off, and then we'll look at the figure. And let's see what it does. I can bring the camera slightly lower. Or that way is at least. Right there. There we go. Because that way I can at least show the accessories on him. Just there we go. Yeah, I'll do that in a quick sec. You can give him this arm blade, so you can see it's done in silver. One side has the slot for the tab for weapon storage or fridge. So if you want, you move this hand forward. You can do it on either side, and then you can just put the blade in like that. That way it looks like it's coming out of his hand and looks like this. If you want, since this is the tab like that little post, you can have him hold it in his hand. Never tried this, so yeah, if you want, you can give him the sword in robot mode. Okay, so that, yeah, it doesn't really hold that well, so you're gonna have to do it on the side or just not use this sword. There is this tab right here on the side that's sticking out. It can be on either side, but this just goes right here and storage like that. Okay. I'm just fixing, there we go. So there's that. So you also get this little bit. It's just a storage adapter. So this just goes in the back. There's a 5mm port, and if the post 5mm port post right there. So you can do that to clean up the backpack so you don't see this sticking out. And wait, for storage, you're gonna have to leave that out of the way. This just goes right on his back. Don't worry, I'll do the articulation look at him without the weaponry on. I'm just showing it stored for a minute. You get this shield, the sword, and a shield. So they can store right here on his back. So now we have weapon storage. So now you can like see up on the front there. You can see the sword over his back. Here you go. So there's that. I'll look at the weapons more when we get him in his hand. So I'm just gonna put that to the side. Okay. So let's see. So articulation rise. So you can see there's his head. Bring the camera slightly up since it's a little bit more off there. There we go. Just there. So he can look straight at you and then you can look down. That's it. And you could get that much side tilt. So he can look at the side. Okay. The arms can do a full 360. They do get hindered, so if you bring it out a little bit, they can go fast. You can bring up this shoulder, so then that way they can go out that far. And if you bring that down, that will go down with it. So you just gotta slide that back up in place. You get a full 360 swivel. No issues there. Hey, M3. Nice, nice. Nice. But yeah, like I said, I do have an unboxing after this. So maybe after this one, after the stream. So I'll do a different stream, but that one I'll do on StreamYard for the unboxing. So there's that. So Prime has a double elbow joint right there. So you have a double elbow joint. And well, like you saw when I use the sword, you can bring the arm forward that far and you can open fist and the fist can rotate around. So there you get that. And there's that for the lower body. For the upper body, now let's work on lower body. Hip skirts can go out to the side, they can go forward right there. So you get that far forward and then that far back, and you get that far for the split. Okay. But if you like move it out, you still get, so yeah, I'm just showing you. All right. You guys do a waist rotation, you just gotta lift up these panels and the back leg will kind of get in the way. So it's kind of limited. And there's a fix to that. That will free up the waist rotation. I'll talk about that when we get to that. Let's bring these down. Side swivel right there, and he has no hollow bits. Well, like no hollow, like on the inside of the arms, inside of the legs, thighs. So that's nice. He does have some hollow bits, but that's at the bottom of the feet. I'm just saying, like not in the hand or the arms. So right there, perfect. Okay, there's that, and this little healer piece will come unclipped. It's just a little friction. So if you put like too much pressure, but there's that. As I say that, the other side just comes unclipped. There. This is gonna be hard to see. You get an Autobot symbol right there in the middle. So there you get Autobot symbol. Okay, there's that. Legs, you get a single knee bend right there. Some single knee bend right there. Foot, full bend. Well, you get a bend right there. And the foot can rotate full 360. So it does kind of get hindered. And if you want, you can bring the toe and heel down that far, but that's due to transformation. There's the back. Here's the side. So yeah, it's that. It's just he has the back, the kibble on the legs, and then this whole section right here. So yeah, so there was a way to actually fix this. It's not in the, I believe it's not in the instructions. They at least show you in the video of it. Just double check, make sure it's not in the instructions. This is a cool little detail that they added with this figure. I'm just double checking the instructions. Because they might not show it off, so it's like a little secret thing. Yeah, they don't show it off. So if you want to store the weapons, you gotta leave this section on. If you don't want to store the weapons, then leave it off. So, which you can just take this off. So, and to come to this side and unclip it right there. Just pull that out. Same on this side. This section will come up. And this is on a mushroom right there joint. So you just gotta hold it and pull this off. So you can remove his backpack. If you want, you can literally just leave the sword, the mini sword, and the blade and the little sheath, the storage bit still attached. Well, at least for now. But yeah, now he has a much cleaner back. And then this, you can just fold this back in and then fold that in. That way it collapses, and now it cleans up his silhouette well from the top. So then it's just the legs have that stuff at the bottom, but that's for his truck mode transformation. But yeah, see, it's all nice. It helps clean his look. So that's how I'll display with at least without the backpack and using his weapons. So speaking of his weapons, you can do a bunch of different poses with them. Like if you pose it just right, you can give it like where he's holding the sword upside down, like he's holding the sword with both hands. So you just gotta get your joint just right. Because this took some doing. This can take some doing. So if you want, you could do it that and like with the hands opening, you can, it's a lot easier. As both heel spurs popped off. So let me just do this camera. There, that way it's like he's, doing that. Same from the poster where he's like holding it, the sword down like that. This is the best you can get it. So that way it's like he's doing that pose. So you can give him that pose if you want. But yeah, it is kind of angled. You can, maneuver it how you want. Or that's more straight, but here you go. I'll remove that. I'll put the heel spurs back on. And yeah, this can be removed so you can get the sword in and out easier. So if you want, if you have like a bigger who has closed hands, you can just slide that in. And now let me just reattach his heel spur. His heel spur. So give me a sec. And that's right. And so if this pops off, you just want to make sure this sits aligned with this section, top section. And there's like a little notch right there. Cut it out. That will sit right there. So you'll put this side over there. But yeah, so yeah, there's that. Just straightening out his arm. You could give him the arm blade, which I showed off earlier. Post that if you want. So yeah, you can do that if you want. I don't display him with the arm blade. I only just did that for the thumbnail where you see him fighting Galvatron. Speaking of that, let's do that before I do some weaponry. Continue with this weaponry real quick. I'm still just gonna leave the backpack off because it doesn't change his height. I'm just gonna leave that the sword off to the side. Just gonna put that and reattach the sword back together real quick. So for comparison, here he is with Studio Series Crosshairs. So you can see how Crosshairs looks with the Optimus. Well, no, his upgraded form because there's the evasion form that Optimus had at the beginning, and then he upgraded. But yeah, so there's Prime Crosshairs. Here is Prime and Lockdown. So you can see there is Lockdown over there. And then since I messed with him, here, let me. He's kind of leaning back, so fix that there. But there is, so you have him and the Lockdown right there. So yeah, Prime's bigger. They were about the same height size in the movie. So yeah. Here, let me see if I can bring his head back. That might help his balance. Here, that way at least it looks better. It's better. So anyways, here he is with the main villain of the movie. Well, fought with Studio Series Galvatron. There we go. We're just mixing his stands. But yeah, there. So yeah, you can see Galvatron and Optimus are the same height. Or around the same height. Yeah. So that's nice. So if you, there you go. And there's still one last one figure I'm gonna get out. And this one will be big, but I'm gonna talk about it, and you'll see. And this will give you a hint of who the unboxing is later, but that's gonna be in a different stream. So here he is with Studio Series 07 Grimlock. Grimlock. Okay. So yeah, I'm just gonna stand Grimlock in the back because that's the best you can see him here. There we go. So yeah, when Hasbro started this line, Studio Series line, they only released Grimlock from the Dinobots. And then they haven't done any of the other Dinobots. So Hasbro decided to redo the Dinobots and redo Grimlock into a Titan class figure, which that figure literally arrived today. So that'll be when we'll be unboxing and messing with the Titan Glass Studio Series Grimlock. It's just arrived today. Sorry about that. It's on video, but well, the major differences between him, this version, and the new one. But one thing is definitely changed. Grimlock wasn't this big in the movie. I'd say you have him kind of more like an A pose, standing. But yeah, Grimlock was not this small. Or to Prime, Grimlock would be towering over him. As you can see, Prime's shoulders basically go up to his hips, his crotch right there. Grimlock is taller than that. So with the new Titan class, they fixed that. They made that Grimlock is much bigger. This is like 8 centimeters. The new one is like 15 centimeters. So major difference. And if you recall in the movie before they went to go fight, where Prime fought Grimlock for them in it, and then they eventually, well, Prime won. You did see Optimus riding Grimlock, getting on the back of Grimlock and riding him into battle. When I put Optimus on Grimlock, this one, Grimlock just kept falling over. Prime wasn't really secure. On the new Studio Series Titan one, Prime fits secure, and the new one's more movie accurate compared to this one that is not. But like I said, I'll talk about more of that in we look at that one. So I'm just gonna put Grimlock back to the side. Okay, so back to Optimus. So yeah, you can pose him up. You could do the pose in the box. You can't do that pose in the box. So where it shows like he's pointing sword forward because the way the hands are. But you could give him the sword, so this can just go in his hand. So if you have issues, you can just separate the blade and then just do it that way. But there, that way you have that look. So that way he's going to go right there. So you can see the blade in his hand. And there's one last thing we can do. Well, to armor Optimus up. This will just go in right there. And also there is a little section. So if you want to, you could do this possibly for storage. I don't think it's in the instructions, so it could have just been like a little afterthought. If you want, you can do that, but I'm gonna leave that off and just put it back to the side. Okay, but yeah, there's that. And also, when you remove that little bit from Prime, that frees up his waist, so he has full 360 waist rotation with that off. Okay. Just, there we go. Fixing his hips. There we go. That way it's like he's going to bring his sword down, sword of judgment down, and slice you open. But yeah, you can see there's the shield. It's just the red right there. That's it. So no really color. I know Toy Hex did put a Sepram. They did DNA put out an upgrade kit for him. That makes him a little bit more movie accurate. See if I get that kit. But there's one other thing this shield could do. It can transform in that blaster formation, so you can do that. So you just pull these off, and so you can see there's two ports right there. There's an in port and there's an out of port. For shield mode, it's an in port. You put it on the out port for blaster mode, and then you can angle this like that, and then that way now you can recreate this like blaster he had in the movie, the shield blaster right there. So you can call it that way. But yeah, you get the blaster too, which yeah is nice too. So if you want, you can pose them with the shield blaster and like that, or you can do it with the classic shield. Like nope, that came untapped. That was the first time it happened. Okay. But yeah, there. So if you want, you can like get that shield blaster on. Or just, do the classic sword and shield combo. Which I'll quickly just pose him up like this, then I'll transform him and talk about him and see, if there's anything, negative about him. But yeah, there. I'm just posing it so that you can get your idea of it. But now with that waist, you get a lot more expression of him. That way he's ready for battle. Battle. That way now you get like that. That means like he's going to strike at you with his sword and do that. There. So let's talk about Optimus transformation. So did you go into his transformation as I bumped the tripod over? The tripod. Pod. Okay. But yeah, so now I'm just gonna re-put the backpack back on, and we'll talk about the weaponry later for alt mode storage. So I'm just gonna remove everything. And everything, and just put the weapons back off to the side and reattach the backpack. It's just the mushroom joint right there. So it's not hard. You don't have to like just unscrew or something. So that's nice. But straight. I'm just kind of straightening him back out, and then I'll reattach the backpack. And I just realized I never showed the backpack detail since I removed it. Well, his back. Ow. Yeah, you can see like the exhaust right there. You can see his ass there. The lights and port right there. Right with the grills. But yeah, there. So there. That's the back. So yeah, it's nice. I do like that option. And you can remove it or leave it on. I'm just gonna bring them slightly forward. Okay. So I'm just gonna remove this little storage connection and just leave everything to the side. Full 46 accessories and just throw this back on his back. And just get this in. So yeah, it's just a peg, and then you just want to make sure those little tabs go in the slots, because that what else holds the backpack together. And presetting of the tab, and then this can just sit lower right there. So if you want it to sit right there, that way you can do that. But like, I do like the way how his back just clean up if you remove that piece. All right, let's get into Optimus Prime's transformation into his truck mode. So we're basically going to work our way up. We're going to work our way from top to bottom. Bottom. You want to untab these sides. I'm going to bring this up for now. Heels spur popped off. Let me reattach it. Reattach. And straight. Okay. And so yeah, you want to rotate this so that way this is now pointing up. You want to flip this out. You want to complete the door. Should have gotten Nemesis. I could have, but I just got the new Grimlock too, so that way, because in the movie Optimus rode him Grimlock, and Nemesis Prime never really did ride the Grimlock in the movie, so because yeah, I know the Nemesis Prime just came with like the shotgun and the daggers. The DNA kit includes that and a few other stuff. Well, except for the shotgun, I believe. So, but yeah, we'll see. Anything's possible. I could also wait for the Nemesis version, to go on sale too, because this was $60, but that's what I spent at TFCon for him. You want to get your nail over here and just untab this. This was kind of untabbed. Tabbed there, but there, yeah, you want to get this untabbed both sides, because that will start, undoing this section. Okay, here, let's do the arms, get them at least out of the way. You want to rotate them forward, that's the best way, and then you want to have this up. You want to spin at the bicep right there, and you want to open this panel up there. So just grab this panel and push it, open it all the way up, so that way it goes out the door, and then that will sit right there. You want to use your double elbow bend and get this tabbed in right here. And right, and this will sit right there. And then this can sit right there out of the way for now while we do this side. Because yeah, it was bent like that for robot mode. Now you're just gonna extend it. And then just get that in, so that way that will form this side out. And you do this. Spin your arm around. Forward, spin, there we go. Bend, 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 tabbed in. Get that tabbed into the slot and the side. And you want to make sure your fist is straight and closed too. I should mention that now. Straight and closed. Because if it's open, you're going to have an issue with it. It at least works better like that. Okay, there, that wasn't fully bent, but there. So that's how you want the arms. We can at least, and then untab. Because now this whole section is connected. So that will shift that down. You can you want to bring these hip skirts up and then fold this in, bring that up and get that like angled out of the way for now. Same thing over here. And this will sit up, and then this can untab. And then this will just sit up out of the way. And then you can fold this little section underneath and tab that in. And then this will close up. right there. So that way you at least know, but you want to make sure it's slightly open because this is where this is going to come back in. Okay, in. So I'm just going to lower my camera and do this up closer. So as a dog has to bark. Okay, so you want to shift this. How it was more in the forward position, this will shift down into the back position. And this will sit collapsed back. So you can see it will sit like this. So it's almost like an L shape, L piece. So this goes up, and then this bit where it connects just sits in. So then this will tab into this side and just do the same. That will just tab in. That will fill out your front of the cab. So now we're just going to finish the rest of the cab. You want to make sure that is pushed in all the way. So then, you can see it's not. And there. So that's in. So you want to bring these up. You don't want to tab them in just yet. Now there is a hook like tab on here on this section of the door that will tab into that section, which you just got to right there. So you just got to push this kind of in and bring this down, then push that out, and that will sit right there. Filling out the arm. Same thing on the other side. Okay, that. Just making sure that sits up. So yeah, kind of push this section in, and then bring that down, and then push that out. So it tabs in, and then you can tab in the front. The arms together. There's just a tab in the middle. And then this section will collapse back and just push straight down, making the top of that. And then once you see this gray tab right there, that's it's good, because when it's not, then it's not going to sit right. So just make sure that's like that, and this is sitting all aligned. That's the front half done. Now we're just going to work on the leg section. So it was bent like this in robot mode, so then you just want to extend it, and then this has a tab that goes in here underneath that. So that way that's hidden, and then you can spin his waist. So now his legs are pointing up. So now we're just going to work on the legs, which will make the roof of his truck mode and the back and the side of the truck mode. So you just want to do this in a step. So you can at least collapse your foot in like so. Okay, you want to pull this out and out, lift. And then you also want to rotate your thigh in too. Probably should do that now, but there. Rotate your thigh in. Okay, I'll do one side, then I'll do the other one. You want to hold down on this little section. That way you have access to the inside. So pull this forward. You want to spin this section 180. So that way now this is pointing out. So that way you don't see the foot anymore. You want to flip this gray section around, and that's the trailer hitch. This bit at the top. Fold this up, push that in, and then do that. You can do it this way too. I'm just showing it. And then this will tab in first, but you also want to make sure that nothing's right here, so you can bring this up, and then we just tab it back in. And so that will sit right there. How are you doing, Lego? Okay, I'm just going to leave it like that and work on the other side, then get back over here. So yeah, I'm just going to do it speed. Up, tab in. Well, that will sit right there for now. Let me grab this section, which this is sometimes tight. So I may have to do this on camera. Nope, there, got it. Okay, bring this out. Spin. Flip this section around. And that will sit right there. So then that will form the other side trailer hitch. And then this bit will sit forward and sit right there. So now we're just going to finish everything up and get everything tapped in. So the legs, that just going to go in its home. Let me try that again. Okay. Okay, why aren't you going in? Okay. This one's kind of just sit right here for now because you want to do the top section before you bring those in. So just get these aligned up. There's tabs on each side that will connect to each other. There, and just make sure that's in, and then bring this down, and this will sit on top of this section. And bring this down, and this will just sit over here. And then there's a tab at the top that will sit in there. That will hold that section together. And let me just do one thing. This came untabbed real quick. There. So now for the last little section, you're just gonna bring these in. And yeah, so you want to make sure sections are hinged back. That, and this side just came tapped. Just make sure the legs are up right there. And now this will tap in because there's a little slot right here, and then there's a tab right here. There's that tab that will go in this one, and then this one will go in the front one, will go in there. So they will just, and make sure everything's straight. And there, get everything tapped in, and it's easier doing the front one because you can't really tell about the middle one because it gets hidden. And just do the same thing on the other side of it, and make sure that's back. Bring back. Nope. Okay. Okay, and in. Get this in. Tap in. In. And there you go. You have Optimus Prime in his truck form. I'm making sure everything's tabbed in. Just gonna bring backdrop back. There you go. So yeah, he rolls. Granted, it's, depending on your surface, it could roll. But yeah, there you go. Everything you can see, there's the underneath of him. So you can't really see anything. You can see the legs and the toes. That's it. And part of the lower chest. Yes, but other than that, you can't see anything robot-wise. And if you look from the top, you can see the trailer hitch right there. You can see the lights right there, well, at least molded, not painted. But yeah, then you can see there's a little gap right there. And the little gaps right there. But yeah, that way he has like the short mode stacks in robo mode. Now he has the longer one in alt mode. There we go. But yeah, even the windows, the detail, the windows right there. There, even the front, and then you can see all the flame detail too. So this is gonna be kind of hard to see. So I'm just warning you. If you look right here, there is an Autobot symbol. Yeah, it does. Someone has to message me. Can you message me later? I'm on the stream. Oh, focus on you right now. Focus on the stream. I'm gonna go yell at him after the stream. But yeah, there you go. See, the details all come along. The flames. Just this the gray section right there for transformation. But now let's do the weapon storage because they're store. So the sword just sits on this little tab right there, and you can see the Western Star logo. This is the Western Star truck. And the wheels are all pinned on too. So, because I know some people like pinned on wheels, some like the clip on ones. So, but yeah, there's that. So, there, this sword goes right there. So, well, the dagger, the mini sword goes right there. And this just goes at the back on the trailer hitch. It is a 5mm post compatible, so probably a trailer could attach to it. I don't know. I haven't seen anyone try it. Anyways, you can just put the sword back here in the middle, and this will sit in that little gap right at the top. So it's kind of like a resting place right there. There. So it kind of covers it up, and then the shield, you're just going to put it in the wall forward and have it sitting like that. That way, at least everything's stored, so it's not like you're leaving something off to the side. And from the front top, the shield just help cover. That way, you don't really see anything. But if you look on the side, you can see it. So at least it stores. So that's at least good. Good. But yeah, there's everything. All the details, transformation. Trying to make it as screen accurate. But yeah, there you go. There's all that detail, even the tire detail. I'll do on this side since there's no sword blocking it. But yeah, there's that. So you can see there's the tires. And the tires are plastic. Sometimes they'll do rubber. Tires, yeah, they're fully plastic. But yeah, there you go. So yeah, it's a good figure. The sword is nice. And the shield is nice. How we can open up, you get the sword right there. So if you want to read that one scene with Galvatron. If you have Galvatron. But yeah, and this one can ride the new Studio Series Titan class Grimlock. It can't ride the original one. But yeah, I'll talk about that more when we look at the new Grimlock. But yeah, we'll see. Do that after. Yeah, I'll at least get back in robot mode before I do that stream. But well, that stream. But we'll see if I do it after or eat dinner. So we'll see. We'll see, maybe a few minutes or so. But I'll at least do that on the PC/phone. But yeah, anyways, I've been the only Ultimate Wolf. The transformation is nice and easy once you know what you're doing. The articulation's good. The double joints. See on knee bend. Waist retrievable. The way the backpack can come off too. So if you don't want to have it on, you can take it off too and clean up his backpack. Yeah, he looks good. But yeah, anyways, I've been the only Ultimate Wolf. You can find the Ultimate Wolf on Twitch, the Ultimate Wolf on Instagram, the Ultimate Wolf on Discord. You / the Ultimate Wolf on Reddit, at Ultimate Wolf 19 on X/Twitter. And I've been the only Ultimate Wolf.